No suits, no filters. The real talk from the top.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Sigma Malta for you, those of you just arriving. Today, planning on having a little bit of fun. Those of you who've seen many of us in a panel know that I love to go off script. And today's just really something raw. I was having conversations with each of these highly experienced veterans. And I think the real question is, like, from the top, there's a lot of people that look at the title of CEO, founder, as something, to, let's say, aspire towards. But there's a lot more to it, Alex. We had a lot of chats about this, building a brand, managing your team. I just want to kick off with a little bit about, your story. Alex, you've got the experience, you've created multiple brands. What drives you? What keeps you going? Where did you decide, I want to go and build my own brands? Alex, I'll kick off with you on this one.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alexandre Tomic. I'm the founder of Alea. We are a game aggregator. I started in this industry in 2004 as an affiliate. 2012 as an operator with Alea. Alea became a B2B in 2020. It's a funny question you're asking now because we've just received people are trying to buy us lately. And the money they're putting on the table is interesting. We're talking about tens of millions and almost hundreds. And we were talking with the board and thinking, I don't want to sell because I still have a lot of the things that I want to do. There's many things I didn't finish yet. I don't feel I'm done with this industry yet, even if many times I contemplate the fact that I would like to work in another industry, like psychedelic industry or conscienceless exploration or whatever, But I'm not done with iGaming, and I always thought, we don't bring value to society. It's not there's something that we're doing that is worth celebrating in iGaming. We're doing entertainment, and there's nothing really special about it. We don't save lives. We don't send people to Mars, even if I think it's a questionable idea. But there's something about what we do that I can't put in other words that it's fun. And there's something about what we do, about the people we do it with. And in this industry, very interestingly and counterintuitively, is filled with good people. I don't say we're the smartest ones in the room. I'm sure there are other industries where there's smarter people than us, okay? I didn't say that, but we have good people. We have fun people. We have people that you enjoy interacting and working with.
Well, that's really one of the things. I think as a fundamental position, the gaming industry has been built on people who have a drive. There was no education around gaming. There was no courses. How do you get into gaming? It was purely, I want to do that. I like this entertainment. I'm going to go build this. But Simon, I want to shift on to you. We spoke about something really interesting. And I know I might jump subjects, but I just like to keep things a little bit raw. You've been in the industry. You know what it's like. From the top, developing serious brands. It takes its toll, doesn't it? And that's what we spoke about a little bit more, kind of regrouping. It's always a subject at the top. You've built the brand, you've gotten there, what do? Do you jump onto the next project right away? Or do you give yourself time to regroup, to put your next ideas into play? I'd love to hear a little bit about your opinion over there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point you make. I started in gaming in 2008, fell into it by doing conferences, and in my last two roles, I took 5 months out and I took 8 months out when I left, because literally the energy and drive, and Alec talked on the good points about entertainment and people, they take their toll out of you. When you're working in different cultures, as I've managed to do, understanding how that works, and I think what I've always tried to do when I've been building brands is to bring integrity to what we do because you're as good as your word. But also, I think what I've really tried to do, and I think many people haven't done it, is put the customer first. And by the customer, it can be Alec with a B2C operator, or it can also be the end user. I think we forget so many times to focus on the entertainment and providing a service to the end customer. And I think when you're building brands, it takes energy, it takes integrity, and it takes drive. But yeah, I've always had to take some time out because when you leave these brands, I sold one brand to Pragmatic. I left Digitain after 5.5 years just because I was exhausted. It feels like a divorce. There's some loss what you go through. It took me and Alec had a conversation in March of this year. I wasn't ready to come back because it was like I'd gone through this divorce. I'd really developed a brand. I'd pushed Digitain to levels that they couldn't believe, made them a lot of money, but I never looked at the toll it took on me. But I look at the legacy, and I was talking to a guy who went to Pragmatic Play. He grew up on a border region of Armenia, did his military service, and to see teams that you build go on to tier 1 suppliers is amazing.
Well, that's really it. And you touched on two very interesting topics. And this is where I want to start going a little bit more raw, right? It's a question of legacy versus your health in some cases. Dmitry, we mentioned a really cool one just earlier, and we joked about this, and it's a really good subject for me. The bigger your team grows, the more stressful it is. We're kind of at a precipice in gaming today, where it's between trying to keep a lean team, using AI to back up, a lot of the roles today that in the past, like content. But how are you coping with it? I mean, the more you have, the more work it is for you, isn't it? So you touched on a subject, it made me laugh. Oh, we're growing more. Not always a positive. Tell me about your experience. What is the fundamental difficulty of giant teams?
Hi, everybody. My name is Dmitry. I'm CEO of EvenBet Gaming. By the way, do we have a Q&A session after that?
Yeah.
With the audience? Do we have a Q&A session after that with the audience?
We can try. If we fit it in, why not?
Okay. When you grow, it's kind of always dissonance between whether you go with, where you invest, whether you focus on growth or whether you focus on efficiency. It would be ideal to have both in the same place together. You grow, but you keep efficiency. But as you know, it's not possible, especially in our industry. If you too focused on efficiency, you lose a moment of growth, and then you lose a chance to take some new markets, build some new products, and so forth. But at some point, you need to go back to efficiency and think about your team, about which people you hired, and so forth, to make it more efficient. Otherwise, you look your bottom line, right? So, in my experience, your company development goes into phases. So phase 1, you focus on growth, you have some capital, you add people, you focus to take new markets, take new team members, and so forth. But once you gain some momentum, you go back to phase 2, and you go back to efficiency. You start reorganizing your team, reorganizing your processes, focusing on integrating AI or any other tools in your processes and so forth. Once you have done it, once you improve your bottom line, it's time to go to the next phase and focus again on growth. This is my opinion. You can do both in the same time.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is. You scale by demand, right? But that brings a question, and Alex, we touched on this, and I know we joked about it a little bit, but when we're starting with why you start, how you maintain it, how you grow your team, and then there's that trust element when you're building a team, when you're hiring the right people. And we jokingly said, polygraphs or no polygraphs. But that question comes down to, do you trust the people you're hiring? And how much leeway do you give them? We know that the gaming industry is full of black player lists, being circulated everywhere. You've been an operator, you're an aggregator. How do you cope with that trust issue? How much rope do you give your team to, I don't want to use the words, move away or breach any agreements, but it is a reality of gaming. It's a reality we have to live with.
It's a tough question. We are in an incestuous industry, literally, and especially in Malta. I mean, literally. People sleep together and exchange information. So if you're doing something that you don't want people to know in your business, it's something you need to address. When I started 20 years ago, I did what every little business owner would do. I would hire, not family, but almost. I would hire people that I knew from before, that were not the best, definitely not the best, but that I could trust. And slowly you understand that you cannot grow like that the company is not efficient, and that you have trust issues. Even if they're legitimate, you need to change the software on which you operate. So one solution we found is to hire people that were not from the industry, and that were really good, and especially at C level, our CEO, our COO, our CTO, our CPO, which is now my co-founder, all come from other industries. The learning curve is a little bit longer, takes time, but once they get it, because they're extremely smart, you hire extremely smart people from other industry, they're cheaper. And the learning curve is longer. But if you think, and they're more loyal, and they're not in Malta, they're going to be in Barcelona, so there's less opportunity that people are going to steal them from you because they have a family there and they want to stay there, okay? So that would be the answer to the question. But the second part is you need and you want to build a tribe. You live with these people. I don't have a family, for example, so I won't say they're my family. I can't say they're my family. They have a family. They have partners, wives, and husband and kids. So we're not family. We're a tribe. We're ruled by meritocracy and by hierarchy. And why is it important? It's not just to say the bullshit thing, we're not a family, no, it's also because a family is ruled by blood, and blood means that the stupid brother is winning over the smart cousin. So you don't want to be a family, but you want to be a tribe. And what does that mean? Is that your employees are more important than your customers. And it's hard to say it, even especially here in public, and maybe some of my customers are here, and thank you for your money, and we'll provide you the best service we can, but we couldn't do it without them. And we work with them, we live with them. And when I say we, I don't say I. It's like we are. It's we are. It's not I and them. So this is why it's very important to have this tribe spirit, and to understand that the people we work with are more important than our customers, because without them we couldn't do anything. And even for our customers, it is important that we consider that our tribe is more important than them, because we're going to serve them better. It's very counterintuitive, when you think about it, but it is how it works, because eventually they're going to give much more to the customer if they feel part, if they feel that they've been taken care of, and they are part of this tribe, than if not. Exactly. So at the end of the day, it serves the customer.
Well, that's actually something that I think goes perfectly into the next subject, Simon. And you're right, it needs to be a tribe. And I think the role of a CEO, the role of a founder, initially is not just building the right people, but it's making them believe in the idea. They have to believe in what we're working towards, especially from a startup stage. But I'd love to switch over to you, Simon. You've led some very big teams. Give people the dynamic. How do you get those persons to believe in what you're trying to deliver, to agree with it without, let's not call it that opposition. There's always a little opposition in every company. But what is this key skill set that you need, especially with big teams like Digitain, to say, this is what we're doing and why? What's your take on leading such a big team?
Well, I was quite lucky in the example you bring that I had to build the team. So I tried to build a team in my image. And I had quite a robust interview process. I wouldn't go with the polygraphs, as you mentioned. But what I did was I had a two-stage presentation, one which was a SWOT analysis of the company and a SWOT analysis of yourself. Now, I wasn't interested in the SWOT analysis of the company. I was interested in the SWOT analysis of the person applying to work with me. And one person actually said, I'm not interested in sales, which was quite an honest thing to say. And I was like, what do you mean you're not interested in sales? You've applied for a sales role. And they were like, no, I'm interested in the vision and I'm interested in working with you, but sales doesn't really appeal to me. I said, well, I can teach you to sell because I find it easier to teach someone to sell than to teach the industry. I don't find the industry that complex, but if you've got the passion and the desire, and that's what I look for always, and I trust my instincts a lot, but through the robust process, I try and find the right people. I've made mistakes. There was one major mistake I made when I knew someone was lying to me in the interview, but business demanded I needed to fill a seat, and it was a disastrous hire. But for me, I look for integrity, and people in my image, we've talked about momentum. I always talk about momentum. Building momentum is the hardest thing to do in any company, in any team. But once you've got that momentum, a lot of it becomes fun. And I've tried to also manage a lot through humor. I know it can go very wrong at times, but you want people to be engaged and you want people to want to come to work. And one thing I always say is about this industry, it's a brilliant industry to be in. Enjoy it, but stay grounded, as you were talking about. It's not just incestuous. You come into this industry, I did in 2018, it was like being at uni. We're out till 6 in the morning. There's a point where it has to become real. And I think you have to give the teams that you build the tools to succeed, empower them to make mistakes, but build them in your image.
Agreed, 100%. I know we're running out of time. There's one more question. I know they're trying to get me off stage in a minute. But I wanted to touch on something interesting, Dmitry. The last area I wanted to look at was product. As the founder, as the CEO, when you're building a product, you have to believe in that product. And sometimes it's not always agreeable. I remember when people said, no one will come to an iGaming show in Malta. I remember those days. Look at where we are today. You're in a niche market, poker. I remember it was the leading industry once upon a time. How do you stick by your guns? Because you're now gaining market share. What keeps you up at night, Dmitry, when it comes to building your product? How do you decide, I want to focus on one product and then it will withstand the test of time?
I'm not sure I'm focused only on one product. Yeah. But, I believe product is kind of central part of any company business. If you do have a great product, that everything else, operations, finances, sales, can find a way. So if you have a great product, then you rock. If you don't have, nothing helps you. No capital, no great team, nothing. So really, our businesses are about building great products. And considering this, when you as a founder doesn't love your product, if you don't like your product, you can spread this love to your team, right? As a leader, and this team will not able to build this product in great way and add more interesting features and think about how to improve it 24 hours and 7 days a week and so forth. So it's like product-centric organizations are, I think, the most successful in the industry.
I think it comes down to the same term, right? Passion. It's all about passion. You have to believe in it. I know you do, Alex. Look, I'm going to get thrown off in a second, but I just want to say thank you. I wish we had more time. Thank you to these industry legends. I appreciate it. Thank you, Sigma. Let's give them a warm hand.